Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Marvel Avengers War Machine Buster set. It has a bit of a strange name because it's a play on the Hulk Buster that it's very similar to, but then this is not for busting the War Machine. This is to be piloted by War Machine. Couple quick things I need to go over just in general before I get into these Avengers Endgame sets. First of all, don't worry about spoilers too much. They're clearly doing the same thing that they did with the Infinity War sets, giving us some materials that can be stitched together to play out some of the scenes and some of the activities that occurred within the movie without actually showing the story within any individual set. Secondly, I've got one relatively personal note to share about these. Every single time I've approached a superheroes type of set to review, I've always worried that, I'm not a super fan of the source material, so I can't really give a proper professional service to my viewers because I just don't know the source material that well. Anybody can do a Google search and go to the fan wikis and stuff and look up a bunch of encyclopedic knowledge. But it's different to actually know the stuff, to know where the wiki entries are actually wrong, to understand the context better, to really internalize the information. And I just can't do that with this type of theme. As I was building these Endgame sets in particular, though, I realized that I've been looking at it all wrong, almost completely backwards. The fact that the MCU is nothing but casual entertainment to me is actually a great thing, because that means that I can have more fun with less stress just looking at these sets as the toys that they are. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a nice casual overview of what I think and feel about this as a toy. That said, the tertiary fabric texture for War Machine's quantum suit here is clearly non-canonical. I mean, that's just terrible. It's not accurate at all. No, I'm kidding. War Machine. I'm actually surprised. The biggest thing that's a surprise to me about this figure, and the most interesting thing as I put it together, just to me, in the impression that I got, is that I actually like the stud shooter that's used to approximate the minigun off the shoulder. It just has about the right position and size to me for something on a minifigure. It's supposed to represent a Gatling style gun, have multiple barrels, but the overall size kind of feels like it should just fit within that space. Now, giving him a second stud shooter as just a pistol type thing, or single hand weapon, feels a little bit, a little bit weak. Would have been nice to get something actually built up. Another thing that's a little bit weak for sure, more than a little bit weak, is the fact that all of the heroes in this entire wave have the quantum suit, and most of them have the exact same pieces with the exact same prints. All the torso prints are the same between them. Now, that is correct to the movie. We've already seen from the trailer, as of the time of the recording of this video, that they're all going to be going into the quantum realm with quantum suits, and it'll have some importance, but probably won't be the moment when they go in and they defeat Thanos or anything. So this gets old very quickly. At least the heads are different, and War Machine gets the nice helmet that you're able to pop up like that. I will show you the detail on the back of this torso on the next figure, since it's the exact same torso again. See, this is the alternate face for him. They did the same thing that they did for Stark last season of simulating the heads-up display in front of him. That camera that's placed right up, for the sake of our entertainment. It's placed right up against the face, and then they project the colors of the heads-up display on there. And I think that works so much better here. Of course, this is backwards, but you get the general idea of how that's going to fit inside. Oops. How it's going to fit inside, like so. Works so much better here than it did for Stark. And then here's just his main face with nothing getting in the way. There's what the back of that torso looks like, which is actually pretty good. But obviously I'm not looking at War Machine now. Again, I just share the torso pieces from one to the next. This is Ant-Man with his second version of helmet from LEGO. Comparing it to the original one, I don't know which one I actually like better. I really liked the dual molding on the first one, but the eyes are just shaped so much better on the new one. It's just so much more accurate. I think if I had to pick one, I would go with the second one, but there are still elements of the first one that I like better, that look a little bit more like the proper thing. But having the mouth fully open like the other one did was probably its main downfall here, I think. And the eyes aren't quite shaped right, but yeah, I think I would pick this one between the two. And there's his face under there. And the nice thing is that they actually include a hairpiece for him. He has 2 facial expressions, which is also very nice. I think those are both appropriate for the cinematic universe character. And there's the hairpiece for him, which is fine. It's probably the best thing that Lego has. It's not the best representation of the actor, but I think it works just fine enough. And then rounding out the minifigures, they include 2 different styles or ranks, I believe, of Outriders. One with the golden claw hands and just 2 of them, and the other representing 6 in total. It's about the best job that you can do to get 6 arms onto a Lego minifigure without making a 6-arm specific torso. Both of the torsos have the exact same print, so I'm not going to take the pieces off the one on the right. I think that those prints look very good, even though when you get up this close you can see some of the flaws, but I think they're pretty cool. Now, the War Machine Buster. This had a pretty nice build to put it together, but it does have its limitations in articulation. They tried to give it a fair amount. It is able to get into somewhat of a motion pose fairly easily, and it has enough friction in the joints, and it has wide enough feet, long enough feet to be able to start looking like it's actually moving along. These do not. This one is able to angle around a little bit. I thought I could angle it up just a little bit, but I have to bring it up like so. You can actually spread the toes apart a little bit. It's nice that they used some of the large action figure add-on pieces. Those add some interesting texture some places. So it's ratcheted joints for the legs, so they're able to go forward and back, and also angle in and out, splaying in and out. Pre-bent knees that are not able to bend any further, which I think is perfectly fine for this scale. At least it does look like they're not completely stiff, and as you articulate these things around, I think they look pretty respectable. Let me actually see if I can get that to work with one leg back. Gotta lean him a little bit, but yeah, it is kind of able to work, you know. So I mean, that's better than a lot of mechs can do with the flexibility here. Ball joints for the shoulders. These pauldrons, or the upper armor, are able to be flipped out of the way to allow you to move the arms up farther. The elbows are able to articulate on one axis, but it's a weird axis. It's this one again, to rotate around, so you can spin it. So you can grab something in the hand with the palm facing up. You can put the palm facing down. You can close up the fist and then put a stud shooter right there. I'll go ahead and grab the extra stud shooter from War Machine, the minifigure. Put it right there, you know. It's kind of a wrist rocket kind of thing to watch for. And then this is a 6 stud shooter with the actuator on the back. I'm not going to fire that off because all the studs will just simply get lost. This is a flick fire missile shooter, so you can rotate this around and also angle it up and down. Doesn't really angle down all that well. That's as far as it'll angle down, and that's even with the figure kind of leaning forward a bit. It doesn't look great to me. Actually, neither of these look that great to me, but this is the more interesting one, and this is, you know, has a certain level of accuracy and believability with the multiple barrels. I would just leave it like that and like don't even fire it, you know, just pretend to fire and just let it look cool like that. If you want, you can change out these studs for some black ones, or just leave them out completely, make it look like empty barrels. This is able to open up. The chest is able to open up. This is actually an extra ammo store here. So extra studs, that's actually clever, keeping that in the body. This is a printed piece right here. Most of the decorations that you'll see in the set are stickers, but the head is a print, and it is good. I like it. I like it a lot. It is well produced. Nice fine lines. Everything's crisp. It works. It works well. And you can open all that up very easily to get a figure in there. So I'll go ahead and take the other stud shooter off War Machine here and just stand him in place. And will this close up on him? Yeah. That's all I can ask for. Very simple. Very easy to get him in there. I like it when it's no hassle like that. This whole build looks pretty decent around the back. It's one of the better looking mechs that I think LEGO has done, possibly even ever, in terms of just the level of shaping around the back. I don't know, it looks really nice. It looks relatively consistent compared to what I'm used to. Overall, I think it looks pretty good with just some things that mess it up. Mostly these attachments up top could use a little bit more work, but most of the body at least looks pretty good, and it plays well enough. I do wish that the elbows were able to bend forward and back. That would have been nicer, I think, than this rotation. The rotation is cool, but ideal would have been another ball joint right there so that you could do all of that, so that you could rotate and also flex, you know. And finally, there are the spare parts. You got a couple of droid arms in there, a Baraki eye, and one of the gold little minifig claw pieces. The suggested retail price in the US of $35 for 362 pieces, and 4 minifigures included in there, on paper sounds pretty good, but to me, this doesn't feel in person quite like $35 worth of stuff. Just to me personally, I mean, I know that I can go through this and look at the parts and consider it a little bit more objectively and see that that's a reasonable asking price for it. But I do wish that it was sold for a little bit less than that, especially since it's just the volume of stuff here just isn't that tremendous. The size of this is nice, but it's not, I don't know, it doesn't feel like $35 worth. Anyway, the funny thing is, and the interesting thing, the nice thing, at least in the US, at Target, on release day, from the very first day that these were legally put on shelves, or contractually allowed to be put on shelves, they had this at 20% off. This and 2 other Avengers Endgame sets, 20% off. That put this one at about $28 US, which is good. I can definitely go for that. So yeah, that's nice. If you can find it for $30 or less, then I think you're close at a better range for a value here. Overall, I feel like it's a pretty good toy. You know, again, just looking at it from a casual perspective, for what it is, a toy for kids 7 and up. Come on, it's pretty cool. To the older crowd and folks who are a little bit more able to deal with more detail and the possibility of slightly more fragile builds and things, can certainly ask for a little bit more articulation in the arms, and can definitely ask for some better looking weapons here up top. Fortunately, that's going to be very easy to modify in if you have some parts, and probably even taking some parts from this set, from different parts of it, from different sections of it, around the back of the legs and things. You can probably do some mods to this to make it better without adding anything else. Overall, I think it's pretty cool. The lowest point of the entire set is the inclusion of 2 of the quantum suits, which are accurate to some part of the movie, but they're still kind of boring, you know? Come on. I mean, come on. Give us something different. Anyway, that's it for my look at this set. Hope that you enjoyed this. Hope that it was okay, that I treated it as a toy and not something too serious. Felt much better to me, felt much more genuine to me that way, not spending an hour or 2 researching every single little detail and then trying to regurgitate it back. I've told you how I actually feel about this just naturally, and that's just that. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you again soon.